Welcome to Talk to Me Nice, Communication Gone Wild, where we tackle all the ways words can build bridges or burn them down.
We're your hosts, here to dive into the quirks, challenges, and straight up chaos of modern communication in this digital first world.
From hilarious text fails to awkward Zoom moments, we'll explore how we connect, misconnect, and everything in between.
With expert insights, real-life stories, and a little bit of humor, we're here to help you navigate the messy, fascinating world of communication.
Because let's be honest, talking to each other shouldn't be this hard, but it is.
Hey, welcome to Talk to Me Nice, Communication Gone Wild. I am one of your hosts, Tim. So now that all 4 episodes have been released, I thought it would be a good idea to relive some of the best moments from our show. For those who are familiar with our show, enjoy this trip down memory lane. For those hearing this for the first time, go back and check out episodes 1 through 4. So let's get going with our clips of the week. So one funny story I'll share before I pass it over. This is funny to me. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. So my team that I'm on, we used to have a Tampa team and an Orange Park team, and then they merged us all under one team. Well, I was still in office at the time, but again, this is when what I was sharing earlier about having some people that were in the office and some people that were home, and even some people just in the, even if they were in office, it was a different office. So I had to do an online training, and I had all these people, and I'm sharing my screen. So, nobody can see my face or anybody else's face, but they see my screen. Well, I think what some people don't realize, and I know I make it a point to these days to tell people, people that I chat with a lot, hey, I'm about to be on a training. Maybe don't send me any chats for a few minutes, because, those things, if you're sharing your screen and you're not careful and you don't have the chat, maybe on a, your other, chat on a different screen or whatever, you can, hold on. You can run into problems like I had. So I'm training everybody. And, the people in Tampa, they were asking a lot of questions because it was kind of changing what they do. And it's understandable. But one of my friends, she worked for me, but she was also a friend of mine. She sends me a text and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe how effing stupid all these Tampa people are." And as I'm doing this training and sharing my screen, a little box shows up in the bottom corner. And I mean, she didn't even edit the F word. She just let it all hang out. And it just shows up on there. And I'm sitting there trying to scramble. I'm like, oh my God. But in my head, because I can't say that, because I'm just trying to get it to disappear before anybody knows. And while I was still trying to teach the class or whatever, I text her on my phone and I was like, "Don't you ever do that to me again." She's like, "Oh my God. I didn't know it would show up like that." I'm like, "Don't you ever do that to me again."
Let's look at some problems and some solutions. Tim, you brought up so much good stuff, and I'm like, oh my goodness, just from how things first started, you took us back to the beeper. I'm old enough to remember the beeper. I'm old enough to remember the rotary phones and all those things. And I thought about it recently. How I was talking about this and how we used to walk me and my brother used to walk for, miles back and forth to school. And they was, your parents hoped and wished when they got home that you were there. It was nobody to call and text on you or have that anxiety of are they home yet? Are they, so I would say having the accessibility of something on your hip 24/7 has caused I don't want to call it an anxiety, but it has caused something to where it's just people want other people at their fingertips every minute, every second of the day.
Recently when Kanye West brought his wife out, she came out naked and no one is talking about, well, people are talking about it, but they're not apologizing. And I feel like, didn't she break some type of law? There's a law against indecency, and there's indecency in the dictionary, and then there's Kanye's wife face. I don't even know her name, but they're not gonna
Bianca
apologize.
something. Yeah, I don't even remember.
Whatever. They're not apologizing. And I don't think anybody is holding them accountable, which brings me to the cancel culture. Those people we just write off. Do they even get the chance to apologize? No, there's some pictures out there of her whole outfit. Those people that did censor her, they had to, because they're not taking pictures off of themselves. They're taking pictures for a company that would be held
Yeah, yeah,
accountable for exposing that. They can get
yeah,
sued.
yeah,
They'll be liable.
yeah,
I feel like I should sue because I'm traumatized.
How did you see it? Did you search
Exactly.
it? Did you
I
No,
didn't have to
put
see it.
yourself
it
in a
showed up. It
It just
showed
came
up
up on
on
my
my
feed.
Facebook. Yeah, on my Facebook feed. I am scrolling
Yeah,
on Facebook, and then there is the whole picture. And then people are
yeah.
saying something about how they feel like she's crying for help. She never wanted to do that. And I talked to my husband about it, and he's like, "No, that's what she does. That's the type of
yeah.
person she
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
That's not okay." And no one is saying that. That's not okay.
Some more research that I did, regarding the fact that they're talking about taking like slavery out of a
History
teaching,
books.
out of history
Yeah.
books. So it's like, again, like I said, so how can you apologize for something that's happened and then try and like kind of brush it
Cover it
under?
up.
Yeah, it's like, again, like I said, it's like you're apologizing and then you're taking it back. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of us having
Ah,
Black History Month if you're gonna take it out of the history books? You know what I mean? People are gonna start wondering, why are we having a Black History Month to begin with if people don't even know the history behind it? You know what I mean? So like,
that's good.
again, it's just like it keeps, contradicting itself, just like how Tim said, like with the marketing thing. It's like you're telling, it sounds good, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, Black
Mm.
History Month, but then you go and take it out of the history books. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. You're not. Are you really sorry for it, or is it like
yeah, like, are
It's
you really
basically like
sorry
a
for
trick.
it?
Like it's like yeah. We're giving you something, but we also not really
Taking it
giving you
back.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, exactly. So
Things can be taken out of context very easily. Definitely in the world that we live in with all these, I know my son, sometimes he texts me, he's 12, and he'll use like these abbreviations or whatever you want to call them. When I was coming up, it was just LOL, something simple. Now you have like all these, letters that's bunched together. I'm like, I have no idea what you're trying to say. I have like, speak to me in English pure form. I don't know what is this, but it's like in SMH and they did this LOL and then it's like all these abbreviations after that. You like, I have no idea what you're trying to say to me. Can we talk real quick?
I remember riding around with my kid. This had to be 3 or 4 years ago. It was the first time he was driving my car after he got his permit. And we're driving around, and I had him every other weekend, so things could change every 2 weeks. From like he was this way one week, and then the next week he's completely, the next time he's completely different. So we're riding around and we're talking about something. I don't remember what it was in relation to, but I was telling a story about something, and he starts laughing, and he's like, "Oh, say less." And I'm like, I've never heard that term before, and I'm thinking, man, did this little joker just tell me to shut up?
I
Like.
know,
And he's
right?
like,
I'm
no, man,
like,
no, it means like, I don't even remember exactly what it meant, but it wasn't what I thought, and I was like, again, it was like, I don't know how to decode this. Like, this is some new slang or whatever that I'm not familiar with. And he said it, and I was like, hey, man, I thought he was telling me to stop talking, and it turned out it had
I
some
mean,
other
well,
meaning. Yeah.
well, technically, that is what you say. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it means, but like, it's not a rude way of saying it. It's kind
it's
of
like
like
say less.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
yeah,
Yeah. Something
exactly.
like
Like
It's
I
like,
that.
get what
Yeah.
oh,
you're
But
say no
saying.
more.
Keyshawn, did you want to dive into anything with us today?
I would probably just basically just agree with everything y'all said. When it comes to like miscommunication in the corporate world, like I would probably say, the best way to avoid it, well, after doing some research, the best way to avoid it is to kind of separate, basically the way you talk outside of work and the way you talk while you're at work. You know what I mean? Because usually that's where the miscommunication and the misinterpretation like occurs. Like, you know what I mean? Like somebody at work could be talking about something, and or somebody could be at work and in a meeting, and they're finishing up a meeting, and instead of saying, "Hey, you guys, that was a great meeting," you know what I mean? Any other comments? And instead of somebody saying, well, yeah, that was great. Thank you for the input, or thank you for your information. Somebody could say less. You know what I'm saying? In the meeting room, and they'll be it'll kind of be taken, out of context. Like, what you mean by say less? Or somebody will get confused. Like, what's that? So like, again, like the best way to avoid that will probably be just to like separate one from the two. Like, once you step into the corporate office or the corporate world or your workforce or job or wherever you at, kind of try and sound or be as professional as possible. That way, like, people don't misconstrue, like miscommunicate or misinterpret whatever it is that you say, and you avoid like problems and basically errors. Because of course, when you at work and somebody takes something out of context, it could lead to all type of problems. Like, it could lead to an argument, you know what I'm saying? It could lead to something not getting done properly or correctly. So that's what I would probably say would be my most valuable message or input.
And then on the contrary, when you're the other person on the other end, always say, I heard someone say this before, and they said, if you're upset, if you feel some type of way about an email, they said they have a 24-hour rule or an 8-hour rule, meaning like you don't immediately respond to that email.
Yeah.
Like, give yourself a day or 8 hours or a couple of hours. Like, give yourself this. You like, you look at an email and you're like, oh, I know and darn well they didn't just say this to me to this email talking about, I know for a fact that I can be gone, work continuously as long as I take a break within that 8-hour day, and you immediately want to say something smart back to them. They said respond within 24 hours, give yourself a 24-hour window, or put an hour window to say, hey, you don't respond to this in 8 hours. And
I like
basically,
that.
yeah, and it stops you from immediately, because I know in corporate America, like the microaggression, like those emails that you're saying that you send back, oh baby, I was the queen of that. Like, oh, let me show you, because who is you talking to, right? I had to learn that, like, how she immediately went to your, like, you're like, okay, I'm about to get an evaluation this day. They're not gonna say nothing back to you, but you see how she still went back to your boss and let her know about that email. So when stuff like that happens, you just know that somebody else, they're using that against you later on. So that 24-hour window, or that number, that whatever you want to set for yourself, it kind of stops you from immediately responding to something out of anger or out of, feeling some type of way, and give yourself like a clear mind to say, okay, let me professionally respond to this and say, oh, okay, I may have missed that. I had a different interpretation. I do apologize for the confusion or my mistake, or, I'm so sorry, or I apologize for the confusion of yesterday. I do know now going forward, and now you can answer it, professionally.
Now, again, we're saying all these things, but it's sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's hard to practice. It's kind of like that whole Mike Tyson quote, or like when, like, oh, everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the mouth, and then everything goes out the window. So, like, for me, in the second scenario with my manager, it would have been smart for me to hang back and be like, all right, let me let this marinate for like an hour, a couple hours or whatever, until I need, because I've been frustrated with the way they interpret that policy for years. So, but still, instead of me immediately reacting and saying, well, next time I'll just take PTO or whatever, it's like, if I could have taken an hour, I could have come back and said, well, hey, I've always interpreted that, to mean this, or can we discuss, whatever. Anyway, I could have shaped it an hour or two later when the initial rush or the initial anger or frustration with it would have passed. I could have come back with a much better email, maybe asked for some clarification, or even just presented my side without just immediately saying, well, I'm just going to take my ball and go home, or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to say, because listening to the situation, I feel a little bit of anger for you. I had the situation at an establishment. I want to say that because I want to. I'm trying not to call them out, but I had a course. Let me say that. I had a course. And I knew that I was pregnant when I signed up for the session. And during the time, I found out that I was high risk. And so I went to somebody to talk to them about excusing me or how to go about, because I had invested into the session. And their response was, well, you knew you was pregnant when you started it.
Ooh,
Wow.
And I just like in the moment, see,
lost it.
no. In that moment, I had to take a deep breath because I know once my ears get hot, like I know my triggers. And when I feel that, I just step back because if I don't, I can't tell you, I can't apologize for what happens next. So there's a proper way, even with what you're going through, there's a proper way to go about that. And if you go about it the proper way, like you saying you don't know what you're gonna do until you get punched, you can say whatever until you get punched. But even if I get hit, at this point of where I'm at in my life, I still gotta take a step back because I had to think of everything I had worked for so hard to get to where I'm at today, to allow anybody, I don't care where they're at, to try to deter me from where I'm trying to go. So it could be a slap, a kick, some verbal abuse. I still have to, if it ever makes me feel shocked and my ears get red, I already know, just step back.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like
And
I
I'm
feel like
sorry, Keyshawn, and
going back.
I just want to apologize to Tim. Tim, I want to apologize to you on behalf of those people that's trying you because you're really intelligent.
Um,
That's it. That's it.
Well, that about wraps it up. We are putting a giant bow on Talk to Me Nice Communication Gone Wild and calling it a day. The four of us are set to graduate college this semester and get on with our normal lives. It's been a wild ride for sure. Getting four people on the same page to create a podcast is not easy, but we made it work. And who knows, maybe you will hear from us again in the future, whether individually or collectively. So for
Ashley,
Keyshawn.
I'm Tamika.
And I'm Tim, we say farewell. To quote one of my favorite singers, be safe, be happy, and don't let anyone make you afraid. Cheers.